You don't advertise it, but you feel it. That quiet relief when plans get cancelled. The way your shoulders drop when you realize the evening is yours again. No performance, no adjusting, no noise you have to translate. You tell people you're just tired, or busy, or in a phase. But the truth is simpler than that. You feel more like yourself when you're alone. Not lonely, alone. There's a difference you learned early. You noticed it the first time you came home after being around people and felt more drained than fulfilled. Your body didn't relax in company the way it did in silence. Conversation didn't settle you. It scattered you. And you didn't know how to explain that without sounding cold. So you stopped trying. Here's what most people misunderstand about you. You're not avoiding connection. You're avoiding distortion. When you're alone, nothing pulls at you. Your thoughts move at their own pace. Your attention doesn't fracture. You don't have to compress yourself into something palatable. You don't have to manage reactions or soften truths or keep things light. You can breathe. Socializing asks you to adjust constantly. Tone, timing, expression. You feel those shifts in real time. Not consciously, physically, like static under the skin. And the more people around, the louder it gets. So you choose solitude, not as an escape, but as a return. You've always had a strong inner world. Thoughts that run deep, patterns you notice, questions that don't announce themselves loudly but linger. When you're alone, those parts finally get space. They stretch, they organize, they speak. Around people, they go quiet. That doesn't mean you dislike others. It means your mind has a low tolerance for fragmentation. You don't enjoy bouncing between surfaces. You prefer depth, continuity, presence. Small groups are manageable. One-on-one can be rich. But crowded rooms drain you fast. Not because you're anxious, but because you're porous. You absorb more than you let on. The moods, the subtext, the unspoken tensions, and you carry it all home. Solitude is where you unload. You've probably been called introverted, distant, mysterious. None of those words quite fit. They're labels people use when they can't map someone's inner rhythm. You don't run on external stimulation. You run on meaning that makes you selective. You don't seek constant interaction because constant interaction dilutes you. You feel yourself thinning out when you socialize too much, like your edges blur, like you're no longer fully inhabiting your own mind. So you protect it. There's a quiet discipline in the way you live. You don't chase noise to avoid yourself. You don't need distraction to feel alive. In fact, distraction feels like loss. Every unnecessary interaction costs you something. Attention, energy, clarity. You learn this by listening to your body, not by reading a book. And somewhere along the way, you stopped apologizing for it. That didn't come without friction. People project onto your solitude. They assume sadness, trauma, arrogance. They imagine stories to explain why you don't need what they need. You let them. Explaining yourself takes more energy than misunderstanding. But there's something deeper happening beneath your preference for being alone. You have a strong internal center, a sense of self that doesn't rely heavily on reflection from others. When you're alone, you don't disappear, you become more defined. Your identity sharpens instead of dissolving. That's rare. Many people fear being alone because silence amplifies the parts they haven't integrated, thoughts they avoid, feelings they numb. You don't run from that amplification, you lean into it, even when it's uncomfortable, especially when it's uncomfortable. Alone time isn't empty for you. It's dense, full, alive. You process, you reflect, you recalibrate. While others are refilling through stimulation, you refill through stillness. This doesn't make you better. It makes you different. And difference always looks like distance to those who don't share it. There's also a quiet honesty in your solitude. When you're alone, nothing is being performed. No identity is being negotiated. No version of you is being adjusted for acceptance. What remains is unfiltered. That's the version you trust. That's why you don't socialize for the sake of it. You wait for moments that feel real enough to justify the cost, conversations that move something, people who don't require you to fragment. When that happens, you show up fully, deeply, without reserve. But those moments are rare, so you spend most of your time alone. And you're okay with that. Not in a defensive way, in a settled way. There's peace in knowing your own company, in not needing constant validation to feel real, in being able to sit with your thoughts without reaching for noise. You don't fear missing out. You fear losing yourself. And that's a different orientation entirely. One day, you may meet people who don't drain you, who speak your language without effort, who allow silence without filling it. When that happens, you won't retreat. Until then, solitude isn't a waiting room. It's a sanctuary. And choosing it doesn't mean you're disconnected from life. It means you're deeply connected to yourself.